Well, how's it going, boys and girls? Welcome to 2025. Boy, did 24 go by quick, but it was a good year for me, and I'm hoping that it was a good one for you as well. All I can ask for in 25 is just more of the same. Although that break I had for the holidays, I'm almost glad to be back at work because if Nathan, I think you got a picture queued up. This is what I looked like yesterday morning at the first multimedia meeting. And I made it through, but then they said, John, go home, shower and shave, and we'll see you in the morning. Oh, boy. A little bit too much fun and relaxation with family and friends, but I survived it. Although I did try to destroy myself on actually New Year's Day. My brother built me not a fire pit, but a firewood holder. And we decided that 4 of us were enough to move this 1,000+ pound behemoth. And of course, I tweaked my back. So if I move around a little funny and grimace, that would be why. But I was whining to my second mother out in Boise, Idaho. I want to get this right. And her response was, my dear, compared to me, you were just a young buck. Suck it up. So, no consolation there. Good grief. Hey, and if you didn't already know, in 2025, Partzilla is going into the automotive parts arena. Yeah, we've started selling automotive parts online. It'll start off slow at first, but I'm looking forward to that because I already have project number 1 up on the lift, and it's one of my personal cars. Almost got it done, but guess what? I forgot to order something, so I'm waiting a couple of days on a part, and then I'll be able to drop it down off of there. And I am recording it just for fun, and it'll be like video number 1 for the Automotive YouTube channel, or close to it. All right, we've been getting a few questions for the people that when entered on our New Parts Day stream that we did on New Year's Day. We were streaming for about an hour and a half. We gave away a bunch of products and parts and prizes, and a lot. I think they gave a lot of just Partzilla bucks up to like $500. And everybody's asking, well, when are we going to know who the winners are? Well, the team is getting it all together, and they will announce that during the next week. Now, as to our Can-Am, I spent a little bit of time just finishing it up today. We concluded the giveaway on, I believe it's New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, and a winner has been selected, but that person hasn't responded yet. So we can't give out a name until they tell us, hey, I'm here. And so check your inbox, maybe even your junk folder, because it could be you. So that person needs to go ahead and come forward. And if they don't, and I think we give them like 2 weeks to come forward. If they don't, well, guess what? We're going to draw another name. And I'd hate for somebody to let it slip through their fingers, because I just finished up today recording, installing a DynoJet part, a Power Vision 4. Really cool little device. Plugs straight into its noodle, and you can go in and upload different maps, because we have a different exhaust system on it and different intake. We needed to accommodate that with a different profile on the air fuel mixture table. But beyond that, you can get in, you can read and reset codes. So I've had fun playing with that today. We've got to love the technology that's available for all these machines now. All right. One other thing I want to mention is next week we kick off the Supercross series in Anaheim with our. No, I don't want to reboot now. In Anaheim with our team. Really, 2025? Is this how you want to start with me? Sorry about that, guys. Now, where did I leave off? Let me open up a couple of documents and we'll keep going. Bad machine, bad machine. All right. Give me just a moment. And we will muddle through this. All right, Dan, what was I talking about last? It was probably the PRMX Supercross series. So we're kicking that off in Anaheim, and both Nathan and Mike are heading out there. They're going to be doing several lives, giving away things there, and to those that are watching them stream. So you may want to check out our social channels on Facebook and Instagram and follow them around. They'll be interviewing different riders, milling about with the different racers and people there, as well as Team PRMX. So go check that out, especially if you're a motocross/supercross enthusiast. All right, before I dive into any questions that you're going to send in today, let's go ahead and field a couple that were sent in during the holidays. See if I've lost my touch or not, if I ever had it to begin with. G Banks 4846. I have a 2005 GSXR 1000. Would a blown ECU cause the bike to have no power? Probably not. I've said this many times. A lot of people, they just want to run straight to the ECU when things aren't working right. And 99% of the time, if not more, 99.5% of the time, it is not the ECU. It is either a power issue like you're having, or a wiring issue, or maybe even a sensor that is telling the ECU to do, or in your case, not to do something. So start simple before you go running straight to an ECU, because especially if you order one of those, they're prohibitively expensive, and then you can't send it back once you plugged it into your machine. So When you've eliminated all other possibilities, yeah, then go ahead and order an ECU. But no, start with your basics. Make sure you've got good fuses, good power, good grounds, your wiring's intact, and then start looking through your sensors before you start pointing your finger at the ECU. Jeremy FRE 9761. Are they old tires for sale from the Outlander 1000R? No, they have gone to tire heaven, or I would hope by this point are probably being recycled. And believe me, you wouldn't want them. They were hard as a brick. They were way overpressurized, so they were deformed. And it was the roughest riding machine that I'd ever been on. And Can-Ams like Polaris, they're known for a fairly smooth ride, and that one was not. So even if they were still around, you would not want them. 1010 Outdoors. I have a diesel, 2018 Caterpillar 102D UTV that idles at 1,000 RPM, but it doesn't start moving until you hit about 1,600. Any suggestions as to what's causing this issue? Now, I'm not super up to speed on a Caterpillar type UTV, but I can tell you the engagement point, yeah, it better be a little bit higher than idle. And actually 1,600 doesn't sound that far out of the realm of possibilities, but I would have honestly guessed, around that 12 to 1,300 RPM range. So if that's happening, that's saying that your sheaves are having to move further in or out, depending if you're talking about your primary or your secondary, before they're grabbing the belt. And there's a couple of reasons that would happen. First one that comes to mind is your belt worn, and it's having to squeeze in further before it grabs that belt. Okay, let's say you've got a new belt on. Well, that tells me that maybe the movement of the sheaves themselves to overcome the springs, maybe that is not the most fluid it could be, and it just needs to be cleaned out, and maybe a couple of different parts replaced on the inside where the sheaves open and close smoothly. Because if there's a bunch of junk in there, dirt, leftover mud, maybe a previous belt that's disintegrated, it's going to gunk up the works, and it's not going to move like it should. All right, Operations Barahona. Good morning. I hope you are well. I have a problem. I changed the fuel pump because it had low pressure, and now the Polaris does not start if the engine turns. I checked the spark plug, and it has spark. I have new coil and injectors. I see the one injector is removed, and it draws gasoline on one side, and I put the same injector on the other side, and it draws, but it doesn't draw, and it has power. If you could help me. Well, it sounds like the feed actually coming into that one particular jet is or injector is stopped up, more than likely. So I would think you need to clean out the supply lines for both injectors. You didn't give me a year, make, and model other than it was a Polaris, but on most of the Polaris units I've seen, you've got the main line that comes up from your tank. It goes to a fuel rail, then it jumps down to the injectors. So chances are it's maybe where it's coming out of that fuel rail into those lines that then come down to the injector. Maybe that is stopped up right inside of that fuel rail where it plugs or pushes down onto the low pressure side of the injector itself. So we still good to go? All right. All right, we got one more from during the holidays. Rafa Castillo, 8230. Hello, I hope you are well. Always watch your channel. I have a problem with my 2015 Polaris 900S. That's funny. We still have ours. I accelerated and it chokes. I was changing the spark plugs in the coil. They put on a fuel pump, but I think it's defective. When I think it's just the piston running. You lost me there. When I accelerate, it doesn't move forward. It chokes me. I hope you can help me. All right, just a thought. There is a what you call a safety switch inside the seatbelt harness. It's just a little contact that detects whether or not the seatbelt is actually being worn or not. Now, if that contactor is unplugged or bad, it's going to barely let you move it around. I think it cuts it out at like 1900 RPMs or something like that. So that would kind of describe what your machine is doing. And because good grief, it sounds like you replaced everything around it as far as your fuel and your electrical system goes. So I hate to tell you, but it may be something as simple as just a bad switch. I can't remember which side it comes up on, but I believe it's on the driver's side, it's the inside, and it's just 2 wires. And don't just jumper it together and ignore it, because it's actually looking for a resistance. So you go ahead, see if there's a resistance there or not, and if not, then you probably just need to replace that one sensor or that one clasp on that system. All right, guys, well, that catches me up for the last year. And let's see what everybody sent in this week. We're actually having to survive without one of my arms. So that will be Hank. He is still on vacation. But Nathan and I are going to try to make it through this. Nathan has dropped in a few questions, and I'm going to see if I can hack my way through those. Spinny Wombat, why would a Ski-Doo Summit 850 be slipping on a belt in the secondary at high RPM? All right, that sounds like a snowmobile, but I've never worked on one, so I'll just apply this knowledge of a CVT that I do know. All right, why would it slip on the secondary? My initial thoughts would be that it's not. Let's see. It's getting stuck when it's trying to go all the way in. So it's starting in the position of all the way out, and it's pushing it in as the belt up front is riding out. So that I would guess that the secondary sheave is not going through its full stroke like it should be, and then it's riding all the way up front on your primary sheave, and then it's starting to lose contact on the secondary. So I would think we need to pop that belt off, make sure it's within spec, and then check the movement of your secondary sheave. Mode Shaheen, can I get a video for a Grizzly 2024 to change the clutch? All right, I haven't looked at the Grizzlies in a while, but if it's a Grizzly 700, Yamaha has not changed that in a long time, and we did a full clutch replacement on ours, where I showed you how to go in and rebuild the clutch for the secondary and primary sheaves, as well as that internal centrifugal clutch that it uses as well. So I would bet it may not be the same torque specs, but the way it operates is going to be the same, and I should be able to walk you through that. So if you would go check out our 2007, I think it's a 2007 Grizzly 700, it should have a playlist on our YouTube channel, and I can walk you through the basics, although it's not going to be part for part compared to yours, probably not. Les Miller, why does the VTX 1300 have a front end wobble? Well, it shouldn't, but my first guess would be maybe a bent rim, or potentially an oddball tire that has not been produced correctly. You didn't tell me which model or which submodel of the VTX 1300, because the custom, I believe, has an aluminum rim front and rear, but I think it's the retro, which has actually spokes front and rear. So I would wonder if either A, that aluminum rim is bent, or B, that front end with the spokes, if it has a spoke rim, if they need to be retrued. I mean, pretty easy to find out. Just lift up the front end carefully without dropping it. Just spin it and tell me what you see. But so my bet at this point would be a rim issue more than a tire. But don't take that out of the equation. I've seen just a poorly manufactured tire cause a front end wobble. Actually, on a car is where I experienced that the first time. William Jack, how to check a stator on a 2014 Arctic Cat M8 Limited. It has AC and DC voltage to do electric start. All right, I've done several videos on how to test. You said stator. I have done a couple of videos on that as well. The best way to check the stator is just to put an AC multimeter on it, and you'll want something north of 30 volts. I've seen them as low as 25, as high as like 45 or 50. It just depends on the system and the regulator rectifier that they've set up for it. But you can do just a regular ohm test, but that's really not going to tell you anything, especially if you get something under an ohm, which it's going to be anyway for its static resistance. It's hard to tell if it's going to be functional or not. The only thing an ohm test really is good for is to see if you have an open in the winding. If you look in between the different phases and you get OL, then that'll tell you that, all right, that coil is burned or that winding is burned out completely. But as far as it being shorted out, then that's going to be really hard to measure. All right, looks like we've got a couple more. If I can get that one to open up. Gunner Hunter. I just put a no OEM clutch in my 07 GSX-R 1000. I'm still getting slippage. I adjusted in tight 2.5 turns, and I still have slippage. What is causing the slippage? Thanks for your time. All right, couple of questions. All right, you did put in an OEM clutch. Did you soak the plates long enough before you put them in there? Beyond that, I would really be curious as to if you measure your stack of your fiber plates with your metal plates. You probably replaced, I feel confident you replaced the fiber, but maybe not the metal. And I wonder if that total stack height is just a little too low or not quite tall enough, and it's not getting a full engagement. Other thing is, did you think about replacing your springs? Because over time, especially that being an 07, chances are they're starting to get a little weak. You can measure, and there is a measurement minimum and maximum, well, mainly a minimum, of the length of the springs uncompressed. That'll at least give you an idea if they are indeed worn out, and they do wear out after a while. So that is what I would go for. Probably first, measure your stack height, see if that's within spec, and then take a look at those springs. And since those are two pretty, you're going to need to have the exact numbers. Nathan, if you would make a note of Gunner's question, I'll bring up the manual on it, and I'll start off next week with that information. That sound like a deal? Make me do a little homework. All right, what else we got? Steve, New Zealand. Hi, John. A 2017 Yamaha Viking. Been seeing some issues with pistons letting go and coming out the side of the casing at low hours. Have you seen or experienced issues with these motors? No, I have not, to tell you the truth. But when it starts slinging a piston out the side, that usually tells me that there's a severe lubrication issue, or more than likely a fueling issue, which is overheating the piston. And that's when it's stopping it basically, and then finding a way to expel all that rotational energy, aka punching a hole in the side of the block. So I would be curious to know if these failures, if the Viking has been modified with a different intake and or an exhaust system, and it's getting more air than it should and not enough fuel. That's just the thoughts off the top of my head. But is it a well-known problem for Yamaha? Not that I've seen in any of the tech bulletins. So I wonder if it's because those particular units have been modified but not compensated correctly on the air fuel side. All right. Okay. We still got more if I scroll down. Oh, Grammy Sweets. Hey, Grammy, did you have a good holidays? I hope so. We love you, John. My son loves to hurt himself lifting heavy stuff and chainsaws. Hope you're having a great new year. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And as I said earlier, all I want for 2025 is just more. Just more. All right, Fernando Marquez got a 2020 GL 1800 Y2 holes to check motor oil. How to check it properly. All right. I was only the newest machine I've worked as far as a GL 1800 is a 2008, and that's the one that we've had. Nathan, make a mark of on Fernando's question, and I'll go do the research. Shame on me for I've been out of the dealership for a while, so I haven't worked on any of the latest generation Gold Wings, but I'm interested to get your question answered, as I am with all of them. So give me till next week to get that one answered for you, Fernando, and we'll learn together. Sound like a deal? Brian Royer, how to adjust the rebound on a Yamaha Warrior? I don't think there is an adjustment on that. The only adjustments you're going to find on a Warrior are just for the spring ride height, or setting the ride height with the spring. I don't believe that those shocks or forks are rebound adjustable. If they are, I'm 99% sure that you can't do the shock. But the front forks, if they are adjustable, it's either going to be at the head stem, excuse my arthritis, you'll see an adjustment point, or look under the bottom of the fork and see if you see just a flat blade screw. It's not something you unscrew to drain the oil. That is to set rebound if it is settable. All right. This is the last one. Oh, from Kerm. How's it going, Kerm? John, it's been a while, mate. I have just bought a 1986 Honda TLR 200. Can you still get parts for them at your store? Being an 86, that's going to be hit and miss. We're going to carry, or Honda still produces. If they produce it, we carry it. But they really start culling back after X number of years, because they'll sit on dead inventory for forever. But a lot of your basic stuff, whether it be chains or grips or handlebars and most cables, you can still get those. Now, some of it may not be OEM, but a lot of it still is. So it's really just going to be hit and miss. There are a few specialty websites, especially I've learned that with the CT90. I mean, they quit making parts for it a long time ago. But there's several companies that have done copies, carburetors, shocks, whatever. But you may want to check out some of the forums when it comes to the older machines that people still love and want to keep running. Well, all right, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up. Nathan hasn't thrown me any other questions. Sorry about that little technical glitch a few minutes into this. It happens, but hey, Nathan and I are busy, are going to be busy in the first few weeks. The upgrading the system around here. Oh, as far as our giveaways, there is one that we did. The person was close enough. It was the KLX 110, and he was close enough to where he could actually drive here with his significant other. We gave him a tour of the whole place, and then he picked up the machine right in our front parking lot. I think Nathan has a little video that he put together that shows So yes, once again, congratulations to Brad. He was pretty excited to run down only a couple of 100 miles for him to pick it up. Now, once again, Remember, we've already done the drawing for our Can-Am, but the person has not come forward yet. So go check your inbox, and God forbid it could be in your junk folder, because it could be you. And who knows, if that person lives close enough, we'll have them come in, go for a tour, and then load them up. Although that big behemoth, we're not going to be loading it up by hand. I can guarantee you that. Well, all right, guys, that is going to do it for me this week. Everybody have a great weekend, a great week, and God willing, we will do all of this again, tech error free, next Friday at 3. Y'all take care.